Hello, everybody, and welcome to Web Connect Plus series number 2. Just waiting for everybody to join. Look forward to presenting our session today. If you can do me a favor, as you're coming in, there's a little chat scenario. Just let me know where you're from. I'm coming in from lovely UK today, but we've got some people from right around the world. So if you can stick in the chat, let me know where you're from. That would be awesome. Hey, Linda from California. Nice to see you. We got Mark in Canada, Brett in Utah. Nice. South Carolina. I'm sure we've got a few. Another Carolina. We've got some Belgium. Nice from Belgium. A couple from Belgium. LA. Wow. It really is a global session today, guys. We had somebody on from Rwanda earlier. Hey, Dan. Michael, Chris, nice to see you all. We'll just give it a couple of minutes and wait for a few guys to come in. We've got a really exciting session for you today, and we've got some great guys on the speaker slots and also for the Q&A panel a bit later on. So I'm really pumped to be able to chatting to you guys today, and I hope you're all having a great day. It's been a crazy one here in the Infigo HQ. 4 or 5 months into the quarter and things are going crazy. So, all right, Leroy from Ohio. Yeah, we've got quite a few coming in, Wisconsin as well. So I'll give her a few more minutes and then we'll get started, guys. Tyler, you got a fan base out there, buddy.
I see that. Hey, Joe.
Is that wherever you go? They follow you around? You're not. Please tell me these are not paid groupies, Tyler. That's a nice touch if they are, and I'm jealous. Chris, why have we got some paid groupies? We like this one. All right, we've still got some guys coming in, so I'll just give it another 1 minute, and then we'll get cracking, guys. Another Canadian coming in from Ontario. There's my groupie. Thanks, Linda. Hopefully see you very soon. Not sure if many of you guys will be going out to Label Connect and Label Expo, but we'll also, I think everybody in there will be heading out that way as well. So it'll be good to see everybody in person. So hang by the stand if you're going to be out there in a couple of weeks as well. Looking forward to be able to show you some new stuff that we'll be working on. Right, I think we're about there now. So thank you very much today. What I'd like to do is just give you a quick intro of what we're going to be covering today. So if we can, basically we've got 3 great companies. So we're looking at a real focus on streamlining your processes for an improved client experience. And really we achieve this by customizing your workflow and integrating systems that are very common to be separated within that environment. Obviously, with everything that's going on in the world over the last 24 months, there really is pressure as a printer, as a packaging provider, to be able to add some better bottom line opportunity. And that really can come from integrated workflows. So what we want to be able to do is not just, hey guys, go and buy these solutions, make sure they integrate, but it's really understanding how they integrate, what's the best of value, what's the best of products out there. And we've got some great guys. So we've got a chaps on from Significans, myself and the team from Infigo, and also Tilia. And we'll be talking about how those systems come together and why they add such value. It's quite an interesting thing here. So Web Connect Plus, what is it? Well, we started this around probably about 3 to 6 months. It was a discussion. We had some great ideas, and we're talking about how can we add value to our client base? How can we help you guys deliver better results within your business? And really that was about coming together, putting our shared thoughts and ideas, and that was where Web Connect really was born from. So I'm really excited to bring everybody together today. So the important thing is you've got a selection of people, so make sure you get familiar with the software. We're trying out some new software today, Livestorm. It's a very good online app for being able to do webinars and things like that. So hopefully you find it easy to use and navigate today. So we've got today ourselves Infigo covering the web to print side that allows you to capture some orders, and I'll be touching that a little bit more in a second. We've then also got our lovely friends from Significans that really are the glue in all of this sort of stuff, and they're bringing that together. And some of the things we've got today, they're going to be showcasing the very, very good and focused workflow. And then last but definitely not least, we've got the lovely guys from Tilia who have got some awesome piece of technology that allows you to be able to automate the imposition of those jobs, which is directly integrated with both the Infigo system and the switch today. So a real great selection of things going on today. And it's going to be live and dangerous. We've got a few polls. Please ask your questions. We won't answer them straight away, but we will be running a Q&A panel at the end of the session. But please don't be afraid. We're here for you guys. We want to talk to you. We want to find out what your pain points are, and want to see how we can really help and add value to your business today. So who have we got with us? Well, my lovely self. A few of you might know me. I'm the crazy guy from the UK. Got a bit of a dodgy accent, formerly from Scotland, spent a little bit of time in Australia and a lot of time in the US, but I reside in the UK. So if my accent goes around the world, I do apologize. It's a bit mad. So I'm the CEO and founder of Infigo. We have Tyler from Tilia Labs. He is a solutions director. So anything in position, he absolutely rocks that world. And we've got a couple of guys that really make up the A team to get to that today. We've got Sean, who's director of technology over at Significans, and James, who's one of the business analysts. So those guys will be helping us demonstrate some technology today, but also running through some really cool stuff and answering your questions at the end from that point of view. So a great lineup to be with us today. There's nowhere else you should be right now. So nice to meet you all. So I'm the CEO and founder of Infigo. What does that mean? Well, I've been in this world about 25 years. I know by my boyish good looks, I can only be at least 25, but I hate to tell you, I'm actually pushing well over 40 now, and spent all my life, started off as an electrical engineer, very process driven, and starting my world in the digital print sector, and have been cutting my cloth ever since that piece is gone. So all things web to print, e-commerce, APIs and integration is my bag, and I'm really pleased to be able to speak with you guys today. Thanks for that, Roland. Hopefully we haven't got the same underwear. So if you've got any questions today, you'll find the software. There's a little chat function. So make sure that you can click on that and just fire that in, and it'll be picked up. We've got some lovely guys who will be storing those questions in for later on in today's session. So for today, we'll try to put together a real life scenario. So we've got Daniel. Daniel is from our lovely fictitious company. So he is Get Digital Inc., one of those famous digital packaging companies. And he's got a few problems. Poor old Daniel. And we're not talking about the unfortunate problems. He's got some problems on the workfloor, on the workshop. So we need to be able to help him. So Get Digital, they're really a part of a large packaging printer. They're looking to expand. They're used to taking in big jobs that be able to sit in the factory for weeks and weeks, but they're being pushed by their client base to be able to take in lots of different jobs. They're looking to try and increase the sales and opportunity with this this new division, but they've got some challenges. how to be able to take in these jobs. There are MIS systems, the systems are used to be able to dealing with much larger volumes. So how can we help them take in some great orders, maintain profitability, increase automation, but able to maintain that professional outlook to their customers? They want to be able to deliver perfection, getting those orders to the customers quickly. They need to be able to take all of these large amount of small jobs and pull them into one seamless process, getting them out the door 24 hours, 24/7, and pushing them out the job, making sure they really hit those due dates and things like that. So for the first part of our series, which makes sense, we're going to start at the front of the system. So this is where Infigo really comes into play. So what is Infigo? So Infigo is a web-to-print system that really provides that front end to your workflow solution. There's no point in having automation if you cannot get jobs into your system. So buyers these days are demanding online ordering. The whole world is pushing towards the internet. If you don't have a way of being able to accept online orders, your business is not going to be around in many years to come. It's just the way of the future. That's not something that we are deciding. That is really the decision of the user, whether it be B2B or B2C. The buying pattern's changing. No longer are people sitting in the office 9 to 5 and being able to ring up and say, can I have an order? Can I have a quote? Can I have that information? That is a 24/7 requirement that needs to be able to be met. We're seeing a huge increase in online order volume. The customers are demanding creativity and innovation. You're getting new SKUs to market quicker, and you're going to be taking a plethora of jobs through that online web-to-print system. So we need to be able to take all of those orders at certain times of the day, batch them up and fire them through to production so we can deliver them back to the customer, meeting Daniel's requirements of getting them out perfectly on time in a great fashion. So we're going to run a little poll right now. Question, have you seen a demand for shorter runs over the last 12, 24 months? So if you'd just like to answer the poll that's just about to pop up on the screen, and then hit submit your vote. So we're just waiting for those to come in. We've now got over half of people submitted them. Anybody that's answered no, probably best to leave the webinar now because we're not going to be able to help you. Only joking. No, this is here for everybody. So it'd be interesting to know, maybe if you've answered no, that you've not seen an increase in orders, small runs. It'd be interesting to put what trends you are noticing. Maybe fire it in the chat as we've seen. So we have today a whopping 82% of people that have seen a demand for shorter runs. 10% not sure, and we've got a whole 3 people, 8%, who are actually not sure. So very interesting information there from our, and hopefully those that are seeing demands are going to be taking on some of the challenges that we're discussing today. So what I'd like to do, I'm just going to share my screen before we fire over to the next guys. And I'm just going to run you through an order going through the Infigo system. So hopefully everybody can see my screen nice and clearly. So we have our lovely portal that we've put together today. This is part of a number of jobs that we're setting up for the Web Connect Plus. We're welcome to find this out if you'd like to have a play after there. So we're going to take this mailer product. So this is a great example. You've got multiple products coming in. How can I be able to submit these jobs? On this particular one, we're looking at a personalized job to be able to push that through. But we could be looking at files being uploaded that require instant pre-flight. We could be looking at variable data coming in, creating multiple packages. We've got a lot of systems here. So we're now looking at the Infigo system. We're now into Mega Edit, and I'm going to be able to just very simply personalize this job and fire this out. And you'll notice straight away, I've got some warnings. I've got the systems flagged up through the pre-flight system, which we actually use the InFocus system for this, letting me know that some errors in that job. So I can get that right at this point before I actually submit my artwork. But I know of that because I'm true blue to Peter fashion for the UK guys. I can find out what's going on, and if I want to, I can be able to resolve those. I'm just going to click close on that. And now what I'd like to do is I've now got a flat file. I want to be able to see what this job will actually look like in 3D real time. So I'll be clicking on preview. I'm now going to render a full example of that job. I can see what's going on. And the beauty of this is one example of a layout of a 3D, but we could have 3D motion going on. We've got lots of different ways of being able to display that. And the question here always is, why do I need to bother doing in 3D? Well, this gives you a real-time preview of what is going on with your file. So in particular for this carton, if I want to see what the fold's like, if I want to see what's going on, then I can real-time see exactly how it's going to do. I can see how it sits and all of that sort of stuff. So I get the exact look of what is going to be outputted when I print this job. If I'm happy, I simply add it to my basket. And once again, just prompted for these warnings, which for the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to skip, and now I'm straight into my basket. No different than any other system, really simple to use, really clean and a simple design. I can either edit my design, I can go back and add multiple of these, but for the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to fire this straight through. I can see all my information here, my delivery options. I can pick from previous used delivery addresses. We can integrate directly into EasyPost for creating a manifest file that for Daniel and get these orders out on time in a perfect fashion. I'm now going to confirm my order, and that order will fly through the system in lightning speed, one of the quickest ways of getting the job into the system, and it's now going to land on our friends on the other side of the globe. The good news is we're not literally sending by pigeon. This is actually going through the internet, so it's much quicker. So we've got an order reference here of 7370. So my customer can take that and use that as a reference at any point within my system. They can return to the home page and they can get cracking on other pieces of jobs for their day. And at any point, they can simply click their account status and they can see where their orders are as the update through the other parts of the system. Really simple, really fast, and absolutely easy to apply for your customers to use. So I'm now going to fire over to guys at Significans, where they will take you through the next part of the journey.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Douglas. That was awesome. So we've seen the front end of how we're getting things in, and we're going to go through the rest of it. I'm just going to introduce myself, James Robinson. I'm a business analyst here at Significans. My history is in workflow software and label and packaging production. And I've got my buddy here, Sean Davis, who's our CTO, and he's going to be driving the Switch side of things for you. So Switch is our go-to workflow with this particular product. We're going to look at how we can get information from Infigo and send that on down the line to get imposed by Tyler and the group over at Tilia. So Sean, if you want to go ahead and take over and show us some of these inputs. So we can use inputs such as webhooks, pulling in XML data, receiving webhooks from Infigo. We can interact directly with databases. We can receive files through FTPs. Or we can make direct API calls to any API we need to. And then we've also got the ability to execute scripts and commands. We can send things straight to Illustrator, make Illustrator files if needs be, and then we can also receive things through SMTP through email if we want to. So Sean's going to show us some of the stuff coming in from our XMLs from Infigo. So the way we created that job, and here's all of our data coming over from Infigo. We have our order status, we have our payments, we have all of the shipping data. There's our customer information, our order notes, billing address, shipping address, all of these data points that we can ultimately use in our workflow. So we can drive things to our mailers, we can drive things into Tilia based on the data that we get from Infigo. So we're going to go ahead and look at the data that we got coming over. So here's our PDF coming in. We're going to link that up with the metadata that came in from Infigo as well. And there we go. So we've got our job created. In this particular case, we're showing the making of a die. We can also automatically produce a die if one wasn't actually built into the file. So in this case, we're showing the ability of Switch to go ahead and use the pit stop tasks to throw a die line on here based on the type of product that we're actually using. And then we're going to go ahead and pre-flight that job. So no differently than what you saw with Douglas showing off some of the warnings that showed up in Infigo, we can also flag them inside of Pitstop to give you actually annotated reports based on the pre-flight that's coming out of Pitstop inside of Switch. And then we can send a notification to somebody if there's a error or a warning that needs to be addressed by a human being. And here's your email that was sent out. We had 2 critical errors. And we can have a look at the actual pre-flight report, and that will give us a little bit more detailed information on what we actually got out of that pre-flight. There we go. So our critical failures, our RGBs, low resolution files, and then we can also do automatically fix some issues. And our colleagues over at ESCO will recognize a lot of this stuff. Our page boxes are outlined. We get our layer information. So everything you could ever possibly want to know about that file is all outlined in the annotated report. All right. So down here, what we're showing is the variable data portion of the workflow. So in this particular case, what we've gone and done is just to show off the variable data side of things. We've made 2 different versions of the PDF coming in. So we're using the PDF as our template, and then we're making an individualized version for myself and one for Sean. So we're going to go ahead and stick our names on the bottom of them. So this shows you how ultimately you could concatenate some variable data into Infigo and then individualize each one of these mailer boxes. So get a nice little personalization. And then once we've got the individualization done, we've got our files. So we're going to take all of our data that we collected from Infigo, and we're going to drop that into a workflow to do the imposition. So what we're showing here is the actual switch portal. So for situations where you want to have a little bit more interaction, you can actually use the switch portal to gather up those files and use them as, in this case, kind of like a webhook or a hot folder. And we're going to take those individual files that we've created through Switch, and we're going to drop them into the Phoenix imposition workflow through the switch portal. And we can give it a customer name and how many of them we need. Pick our stock and submit it to our Phoenix workflow. So there's all of our data that's going to get dumped down through the metadata through Switch. And we have our imposition workflow here that's going to take the XML data, combine them all, assemble everything onto a sheet, and submit that into Phoenix. Now, I know there was one other thing that Sean was interested in highlighting when it comes to Switch being very open source and very user-friendly. There's actually the App Store that we can actually use inside of Switch as well. So some of the things that aren't necessarily built in can be plugged in through the Infocus App Store. So for things like optimizing PDFs, or if we're using CSV files, there's lots of little bits and pieces that you can go and pick up through the App Store, kind of similar to your Apple App Store, to fill in some of those gaps. And we use a lot of these on a regular basis, for processing data and splitting things out. And we're actually working on some of our own apps that you'll see showing up on the App Store very shortly. Hopefully I covered that okay for you, Sean. So if we want to jump back over to that imposition, there we go. So after we drop that through, we can see our preview of our nice imposition that's going to make its way on over to our friend Tyler and Tilia.
Awesome. Thanks very much, James. It's a great way to be able to see how that comes together, and we've got a vast amount of customers that are using across the globe such great workflows in the switch. Is there anything it can't do, James? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I'll get you coffee if you want to.
What is the hardest thing you haven't been able to do? Come on, there must have been something.
Actually, I haven't actually run across something that somebody's asked us for that we haven't been able to do. And actually, I have people have said to me, "Can it get me coffee?" And the answer actually is yes, because we have robotics partners at this point that we can drop information to the robot and have it bring you coffee if you really.
Well, I think the good news there, James, we've just got we've now got the seeding of the next webinar right there.
Exactly.
How we can help Starbucks be more automated, mate. Maybe that could be part of the next work.
Sounds good.
I'll let you just cover quickly a little bit about
Significance. Yeah, we're at our core integrators. Obviously we're showing off Switch here, but we're perfectly happy to play nicely with everybody in the workflow space, and we very much do. It's nice to see a lot of my former ESCO colleagues in the room here. It's good to see everybody again. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Thank you very much, James. And Sean, we'll now head over to the lovely Tyler. Oh, quickly, I better not forget, I'll get a kick. We've got another poll coming up. Do you have the right elements to adopt an automated, not just a web to print, an automated web to print setup within your business today? So the poll will pop up, and then once you've hit your vote, just click submit. That'll be awesome. A few guys just joining us as well. Quite a few SOSs here. Good news, guys. And it's exciting to see how many people are also working on this as well, because it's such a key component. Where we were talking about earlier, and I'm sure you find this, Tyler and James, where we're seeing customers these days is this is a real value where you can add some bottom line efficiency to the business and eke out that profit when not all other parts of the business are being squeezed with board going up, with areas going up. So I think automation is often overlooked. People say, well, I push it to a hot folder or I get that data, but automation is much bigger that. And thinking about not just the complexities of taking a job, say from Infigo into Infocus, but maybe pushing information into your accounting system. We've got lovely Lindon from Print IQ, and where you can put it into MIS systems and things like that as well. It's much bigger than just that. I don't know what your thoughts are there, James, Tyler.
Every day. That is very much the core of what we're doing on a daily basis at Significance is moving that data around. All right. Lots of people have, different disparate systems and, information coming into one place and then it's not flowing to another and re-entering data, which really isn't necessary. We have the tools to be able to do this. We can get that data from all of those disparate systems and put it in the places that it needs to be when it needs to be there.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks there, Joe. So really, we've got 40% of the gang are ready to go live, which is fantastic. We've got around 24%. Well, actually, if we take that back, we're around 50-odd% that really just don't have a clue. And then we've got a couple of guys that are just too busy to get started. Well, that's madness, because we've got the guys from Significans here, and they'll take away that pressure to be able to getting this stuff to market. Because the sooner you do this, the sooner you're adding cash back into your pocket. There's no other way that every piece of your business that you can help automate within reason and sensibility is going to add bottom line cash back into your wallet to go and buy that next super yacht that Linda would love a ride on. From that perspective. So I'm going to hire
help our friend
Daniel. Tyler from Tilia Labs.
Yeah. Thanks, Douglas. And then, can you hear me? So I'm not muted, right? Okay, perfect.
No, loaded.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on. Greg made an interesting comment in the chat there. I don't know if James, you've got some insight there, but yeah, Greg's asking a question that is a really common question. We hear this all the time. And I would advise you, Greg, to I didn't see Linda actually on the session today, but Linda from Print IQ, and there's a couple other ERP MIS systems that are tackling this challenge of ganging multiple orders or multiple customers on a sheet or on a run, and then downstream divvying up the cost, right, by looking at things like the percentage of the sheet that was used by customer A versus customer B, and then divvying up the cost and allocating costs accordingly on the back end. Unfortunately, we're not going to talk about that today, but we will talk about comboing and ganging your jobs for multiple clients. But yeah, James, I don't know, did you have anything to add on that?
Absolutely, it's possible. I mean, obviously, we have all of the data coming in about what job we're actually producing. And then from the Tilia side, we certainly have all of the percentages of all of those things. So gathering all of that information up and conveying that back, whether it's through something like Print IQ, is certainly very, very doable. And then, if you want to go to the extreme of actually looking at the print runs themselves, there are certainly ways of going about actually looking at the data coming from the actual equipment, or measuring those things actually.
Coverage, etc. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So I will, jump in just, I guess, by way of introduction. Tyler Thompson, I'm the solutions director here at Tilia Labs. So there we go. Just to kind of bring it back to where we started, Douglas gave a really good introduction to the problem, introduced us to Daniel. Daniel is an employee at a printer converter who's trying to tackle and streamline these short or micro runs. And to do that, Daniel invested in Infigo, a web to print storefront. So we saw that whole process with Douglas, just kind of showing us and walking us through how Daniel's customer can jump online, quickly order a package, customize the package. Then we saw that order, move into Enfocus Switch. So Switch went and gathered all of the information about the order, the material, the quantity that was ordered, took a look and did some pre-flighting on the graphics, and then ultimately pushed that information down to Tilia Labs. So our product, Phoenix, has a direct integration with Infigo and Switch. So you kind of saw that in James's demo, where order data came from Figo through Switch, and then an imposition file just magically appeared out of Switch. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, just to put some context behind what's happening in the background. And just talk a little bit about our tech and what we're doing at Tilia Labs. That's quite a bit different than a traditional imposition tool. So yeah, just at a high level, Tilia Labs and what we're doing is we are importing the order data from Infigo, going and dynamically calculating the gang runs, and then automating the generation of those imposition files to be sent to press, and then the cut files to be sent to either the die cutter, the guillotine cutter, or a digital CAD cutting table or laser cutting table. So the challenge, if we, again, take a little bit of a step back, and Daniel, has recently invested in pretty well automated the ability to, go and capture these micro or short runs by leveraging a web to print storefront. And then Daniel was also able to facilitate and automate the pre-flighting and data collection with Switch. But typically what we're finding is a big challenge is then, how does Daniel take those orders and not have to touch every single order before it goes to press? So this is where we step in. And with Phoenix, instead of having to take each of these orders one at a time and look at their quantities and go and do some manual impositioning, either at press or in an impositioning software, we attack this problem quite a bit differently. So with our imposition AI technology, we're able to quickly derive the most cost-effective way of taking your orders in and looking at your different presses, both printing and finishing equipment, as well as your different stocks and stock sizes. And based on cost, go and dynamically figure out the most cost-effective way to gang and batch those orders together to create the most efficient, printing and cutting run. So the way that we do that is we first model or simulate your production environment inside of Phoenix, inside of our software. So you'll go and fill out a couple pieces of data about your printing equipment and your cutting equipment. So you're going to set some things like the constraints of the printing equipment, be it digital or conventional. So you're going to have things like min and max sheet sizes. If it's a roll-fed machine, you're going to have a min and max roll width that you can run. And then you're going to have some cost variables. So setup cost, the make-ready cost, the speed of the press, what's the running rate or the cost per hour to run that press. So once you've modeled your printing equipment and your finishing equipment, you'll also do the same thing for your stock. So you'll make Phoenix or the software aware of the different sheet sizes that you either have in inventory or that you purchase from your vendor. And then you make the software aware of the cost of those either sheet sizes or roll widths. And then Phoenix is going to use that data to then go and heuristically look at the different combinations of printing, finishing, and sheet sizes to try and fulfill the orders that are presented to the software. So this significantly, reduces the time in impositioning to, really scale a business and to tackle and manage these micro or short runs, specifically web to print, short runs that are typically ordered at really small quantities. So this is typically a problem that we see in digital. Either customers or the industry starts investing in digital printing equipment, and then the problem becomes, okay, how do we sell to this digital printing equipment? Of course, we can tackle that with web to print. Then how do we feed the beast, right? So we don't want to, again, touch every single one of these small runs, but rather let software, let an algorithm try and solve this problem for you. So if we take a look at this specifically for digital cartons and corrugated, with our software, customers are able to simply import a list of orders. So I just dragged a CSV file or an Excel document. Our software will go and find those graphic files and the dies, attach the order quantities to each of those parts from the order. And then you simply select your device. In my case, I'm going to run it on a page wide and a zoomed for cutting. And then Phoenix is going to go through and look at different ways of packing the sheet. While it's packing the sheet, it's sending this geometry data down to the Zoom, the cutting table. And then immediately we're getting feedback on exactly how many boards is this going to take, how long is it going to take in printing, and how long is it going to take in cutting. So yeah, Phoenix allows customers to gang orders, of course, by substrate. And then you have, really an infinite number of other properties that you can group orders together or keep orders separated. So things that are common are priorities or due dates. I want to take a big batch of orders and make sure that all my orders that are due within the next 2 days get grouped together first. Or a lot of customers, and going back to Greg's question of, ganging a bunch of customers together with this software, you can actually avoid that, right? So you could say in Phoenix, you can add a rule to say, I've got a big bucket of orders for today, gang all these and optimize my material. However, I want to make sure that only orders that have the same customer are grouped together, right? So you can get pretty crazy with these rules and really extend the algorithm to kind of achieve, the imposition or the result that you want to send down to press. Greg, one answer to your question is, well, you don't have to, group everything together from different customers, right? You can use Phoenix and intelligently keep customers separated while still packing the sheet. A number of really interesting use cases for Phoenix and dynamic impositioning. So if we actually take a look at what Douglas had ordered through Infigo, I've got that order artwork file here. So I'm just going to simply drag this in. This is a more manual way of using Tilia Phoenix. Drag this order in. You can see where the software is going to go detect the die shape based on the die that came from Infigo. We've got the artwork in here from the web to print store. We can go and manipulate things like our bleed. And then we're setting our substrate, and you can go punch in the quantity that you need. So in my case, 250 from the web order. And then I simply go into imposition AI, say I want these things to nest, pick my printer and my cutter. And I'm going on a Nozomi. Got a couple different sheet sizes that I want Phoenix to evaluate. And then a couple seconds later, Phoenix will generate the most cost-effective way of packing. In this case, this is just one order, so it's pretty simple. But you can see we're also getting feedback on the cutting time. So it's going to take us 18 boards in about 1 hour or so to cut these orders out. And then Phoenix, of course, fully imposes the file. So it creates your print file with your registration dots and your zoom marks, and then also creates your print file and your cut file. All right. I'll pass it back over to you, Douglas.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. I tell you what, I could sit and watch that all day. That was absolutely brilliant. I hope you guys have really enjoyed Tyler's explanation there. You make it seamless. Is it that easy to set up, Tyler? It's
that easy. It is. It is actually very simple.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I think it's not just about imposition, is it? It's really about that intelligent imposition, because anybody can put a job on a sheet, but it's actually understanding the presses that's going on, the board that's going on, and some other complexities in there, the workflow. And that's really where, by joining all these partners together, you're really getting that real powerful benefit. Awesome. So we've got, just before we hit into our Q&A, we've got another poll. So how do you currently handle imposition? So if I don't see at least 100% Tilia Labs, Tyler's going to be disappointed here. So let us know. So have you got completely manual effort, small proportions automated, some of the processes automated, or actually you guys are flying in off in a rocket? So if you can just submit your vote, that will be great. Select your option.
I think we got the previous poll.
No, I think it's come up okay, James.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
Okay, there we go.
Highs in price.
It's because I didn't vote on the last one.
Oh,
That was bad.
it's always use our error, Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
There's never a fault in software.
Yeah,
Just joking, guys. Don't everybody leave the webinar. Fantastic. So yeah, we've got coming in. So it's really interesting to see. We've got there's a lot of work to be done here. To really. So some of the processes automated 35%, fully automated is less than 70%. So as we can see, as a way in the business to be able to help and drive back a better experience. If we pick out a couple of points there from Daniel, he was really looking to be able to improve that process, be able to suck in those jobs. And if we're not automating, we're not really going to be answering Daniel's queries on that piece. So we're going to be going to a Q&A session. We've got a few questions that have been answered through the day. So if you just have a quick look on screen, you can just hit the little chat, fire in your question, and we'll share that out to our lovely panel for answering. No question is a bad question unless it's about my underwear. So we've got myself, Tyler, James, and also Sean, who's doing lots of driving in the background, brains of the operation, really, but we don't tell him that too often. Making sure it all hangs together and drives in the background.
Roland really wants to know if we're getting rid of iCut now. Part of Masco.
I see that. I don't know, Roland, that I could answer that question. I know that. I know that. Well, of course, the acquisition of Tilia Labs is still extremely new.
Yes, correct. Yes.
It's still extremely new. So I know there's a lot of conversations, of course, happening internally to figure out roadmaps.
Keep the questions clean, unless it's my underwear. Come on. So just before we want to go on, Chris, I don't know if you can just forward one of the slides for me a sec. I just want a quick summary. No, we haven't got it there. Don't worry, buddy. In fact, let me just, what I want to do, just quickly, sorry guys, I'm just going to share my screen a second. Just want to do a very quick summary of, then we'll hit straight into the Q&A. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed what you've seen today. Before we fire off into the Q&A, so the summary, basically what we're looking for is for Daniel's requirements. So he's looking to increase sales by opening a division. So what we're saying is looking at a web front end to be able to do that, supply the customers with an easy online ordering portal, maintain low costs. So although Daniel wants to be able to submit orders, he doesn't want to fire in a load of people. So by utilizing and focus switch and all the massive options you have available there, he's able to pull that job there. He's able to maintain a great user interface with his customers, making sure integration with the Tilia system and the Focus suite. He's making sure that the jobs are done fast, efficiently on the correct press and out the door. And he's really creating that efficiency by bringing that job together, delivering a perfect product, and shipping it out on the due date that is demanded. And a lot of people will say we've now put all of Daniel's things in absolute green, and he's a very, very happy, very happy. Go back to his boss and now tell him he wants a raise because he's created all of these things from that point of view. So absolutely fantastic. Super. So over to the Q&A, guys. So we've got a couple of questions that we've covered off here. So I'll just run it over. I think we've covered Greg's one, Tyler, and also Laurent's fired in there that there are some tools within Focus that will be able to fire that off there. Does the software dynamically schedule into particular presses? I don't know, that's maybe one for you, James, or Tyler. You got some thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So scheduling, what Phoenix will do is evaluate the costs. So it will look at running in a number of different both printing and cutting routes. So Phoenix will look at potentially running or printing digital and then cutting conventionally. So like on a box die cutter. Versus say, printing digitally and cutting it on a Zoom table, versus printing it conventionally and running it on a Zoom table versus printing it conventionally and running it on a die cutter. So Phoenix will evaluate the costs of those, different routes and the permutations in between those routes. But it's not a schedule.
It's not a schedule or a load balancer, but you could certainly use the data that came from that system to drive something that actually did.
So something ERP system.
Yeah, then you'd be talking to somebody like Print IQ and say, take that data, give it to the scheduling system, and let it line it up based on the number of hours that is involved in the digital cut side of things. So absolutely good from that perspective.
Fantastic. Thanks, gents. So then on to Dan. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Looking forward to seeing you soon in Chicago. So is the material? Yes, we do include that information over to both and Focus and Tilia. I'll skip the next couple of things.
Yeah. So Stephen actually had a very good question about automation. Looking at what the obstacles are. Yeah, some of the things that we run into are standardization, where manual processes driven by human beings, depending on who it is and what the day is, people can tend to do things however is most efficient for them at any given moment. So getting everybody on the same page can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. A good example of that is, say, a two-sided job where you have a structure that's built for front and back, but maybe, some of your operators, rather than using the structural data, they just take that one-up file and rotate it 180 degrees because it's symmetrical and it doesn't matter. Now you try and feed that into an automated solution that is looking for information that is driving the front and the back of something, and it gets very confused because now it doesn't know which part is supposed to go with which. So standardization, you can't automate without standardization. The two kind of go hand in hand. And then the other thing that I see a lot is just the mental pushback of human beings, right? When you start talking about automating a process, it's immediately, I'm going to lose my job. And it's scary for me.
That is absolutely.
And what we tell people all the time is it's not about taking jobs away. It's about doing more with what you have. So the ability to actually get more work out the door with the same resources that you currently have. I don't need people to take information that was already in an MIS system and put it on a proof sheet or put it into a Tilia Labs Phoenix to do the imposition, right? I already have that information. So let me go get it from the ERP or the MIS or Infigo and convey that information through the system so that a human being doesn't have to do it anymore. Right. So now I can take that human being and I can say, okay, we got this really complicated Photoshop job or Photoshop image that needs to be processed. Deal with that because I can't make we don't quite have an automation or an AI to be able to deal with those problems. I still need people for that. So those are some of the differences we're into.
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks, James. So we've got a couple of other questions, guys. So we've got question here, how do these guys get started? James, Tyler, Significans, what are your thoughts? I've got some cash, I'm ready to go. Daniel wants to spend a bit more money. How do we get him started? What's What's the next steps?
Yeah, we usually start with an assessment. We get get me, the business analyst, in front of your core group of people, and have some conversations around what your process currently looks like and what it could look like with an automated solution. So that usually means mapping out the way things come into your business right now, and then looking at how we want them to come in a digital world, in an automated world.
Yeah, because definitely some of the things that I find as well, and I'm sure James, Tyler, and Sean, the guys. So when we talk about automation, is different things to different people, and I try to take myself away from potentially the person I'm speaking to, and have a bit more of an overarching business requirement of not just now as well, because everybody goes, well, this is what we used to do. We just automate it. And it's like, well, if we want to do that, then there's no real point. What we want to think about is, where do you want to get to? Where's the business heading? And from that solution, and that's is such an important piece, is to make sure that you take that breather, because not always are the initial requirements where it's going to be heading from that point of view. So some great points there, James. And thanks for that. So I've got one over for Tyler here. How do you link in like your production equipment here? What happens? Just bought a fancy new shiny. I'm not sure who's on the HP, Xerox, Durst. What the kit we bought? How do I link it in?
Yeah. I mean, well, we've got some really interesting integrations, IoT integrations that we've done with Zune, for example, and we continue to build out our IoT integrations with other hardware manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for that, because we've got some pretty exciting news right around the corner with some other digital devices, I guess I'll say, in the industry. So we continue to make that process easier by trying to work with hardware vendors in the industry, and being able to communicate with them through our API. But in general, like it's not overly challenging to model most equipment inside of Phoenix, whether it's a printing device or a finishing device. Mm-hmm. You fill out a handful of variables about the machine, and we have a wizard that walks you through it. So adding the machine
tools out there today that you can actually, if the machine isn't fully automated, that you can connect into that to Metric. I think, is it Metrics or not Metrics? There's a third party that does all some of the connecting, and I'm sure Mark would probably a bit more a favour with that. But if it hasn't got an API, there's ways of getting that motion analysis. Thanks, Mark.
Motion analysis.
That information. So you're not sort of left if there's a machine that isn't supported exactly.
Yeah.
Super. Sure. Couple of questions then. So how do the companies work together? This is a great question, because often where you've got these different partnerships, it's like, well, am I going to be left on my own? What happens if Doug breaks in focus and Tilia starts working? Who am I going to call? Ghostbusters are on vacation. I need to be able to get some advice. So ultimately, it's a partnership. You guys can pick up anybody listed on this partnership. If you've got a problem, you pick up the phone, and we'll know within the business to be able to help you with that. The guys at Significans are, as I said, the glue here, so they would be a great port of first call, and we're sitting on the back phone ready with myself, Tyler, to be able to answer, the support teams be able to answer these questions and narrow it down. What won't happen is them and us scenario. So we'll all put our hands around each other, have a quick cuddle, and get on with solving the problems, because it is software, it does go wrong, but you've got the best people working very collaboratively together to get you guys up and running, maintain that up and running status as on the most continuous form. So great question there from that point of view. So I think we're just about to close off. I'd just like to thank everybody for their time. Thank you to Tyler, James, and Sean. Thanks, Significans. Thanks to the Tilia and all the team behind us to put on this Web Connect. And thanks everybody. We've had some great feedback. Just a few things in there from Dustin at the end. Thanks, Dustin, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the session today. And we're going to be keeping an eye out. And we've got another session not too far behind this, which will be announced in the up and coming weeks. So keep an eye out. We will be various people. We're going to be at a few of the shows. Label Expo, we've got Printing United. So it will be great to see. Come and say hi. We're not animals. We don't bite. Not all of us. That's just for Linda. And if you're about at the bar, which is normally where you'll find me, we'll make sure that we can buy some beers. But thank you very much for your time. I really do hope it's been useful. I've loved talking with you guys, and so have the team. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Thanks and goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Douglas.
Thanks, Douglas.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
It's awesome.